we're going to tell you why Cade Klubnik should be viewed as a first-round pick. Also, Sam Leavitt being one of the more underrated quarterbacks in college football, and John Mateer, maybe Jackson Dart 2.0. This and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an offensive draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Cade Sanchez. He is a director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout for being our everyday. Summer scouting continues to roll on. There's such a deep, potentially deep quarterback class. And we're going to kick it off with Cade Klubnik, the star out of Clemson. Is he a first-round pick? Me and Keith going to tell you all about it. Sam Leavitt, the quarterback over at Arizona State, a forgotten guy in this class that you need to know about. And then John Mateer, a quarterback that transferred from Washington State to play at Oklahoma. Is he this year's Jackson Dart? We'll talk about all that and more. But before that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Cade Klubnik, Keith, 6'2", 210 pounds, coming off of a season last year where he really took a step forward after his first year as a starter didn't go as well. Completed about 62.5% of his passes, threw for over 3,600 yards in the air, 36 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But also he is a dual threat quarterback, track background, 99 carries for almost 600 yards, 588 yards rushing with 7 rushing touchdowns. Keith, when you turn on the tape and you watched Cade Klubnik and that Clemson offense, what did he showcase to you? Is it fair to project him as a first-round pick heading into the 2025 college football season?
Sure. Why not, DP? And I'll tell you who he reminds me of. Reminds me of Jalen Milroe. Like, I think they have so many similarities as far as the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, even their running ability, DP. And you said he had a track background, but we got to put some respect on his name. It's not just any track background. This is Texas background, yes. Right? I believe he ran a 400 and was one of the fastest guys in the
state champion.
Yeah, I think so. In Texas, right? In the state of Texas, there's different. Like, you could be fast in some states, but being fast in Texas means something else. So
it has a whole different caliber of speed, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so when I watch KDP, the reason and what I'm saying is I think the physical profiles are different, right? But I think he has an opportunity to enter the draft in a different way, based off of the surrounding pieces and what Clemson is asking him to do, right? And I think that Clemson, if you look at their final year, right, and what they're going to have Antonio Williams and a couple of the wide receivers out there, they have a much more well-rounded plan for Cade Klubnik, right? And I think what you seen last year, which is the film we watched, is that they had to understand who Cade was as a player, and that's implementing his legs, right? And then using the play action to allow him to take deep shots. And that's why I compared him to Jalen, right? I think that they're going to have two different narratives, but I think if you had to put a game plan together for Jalen in the NFL, it would probably be very similar to what Cade does at Clemson, right? And I think they fall under the same bracket and category of players. Now, and when I say that, people are like, oh man, that means keep this out on Cade. No, I'm not. I like Cade a lot. I like Jalen a lot, right? And I think that if you're talking about this new era of dual threat quarterbacks, they are what you want. Explosive athletes that have big arms that showcase that they can throw the ball in the middle of the field. We just have to put the game plan together that fits their skill sets. I think Clemson is going to hit the ground running because I think last year was learning mistakes, right? I think that they learned and grew with Cade, and Cade became more confident. But just like Jalen and just like probably half of dual threat quarterbacks, getting their legs involved is so important for them with their confidence. It's not a coincidence that they pick up 10 yards with their legs and then they could drive that deep drive route, right? Or something like that, or drive a 15-yard comeback, is because they're confident now. And so I like Cade a lot projecting him, I think he has an opportunity to go top 10. He just can't have the lows that Jalen had coming out, right? If he remains, if he mitigates and his worst game is not an F, but his worst game is a C, while still putting together those A+ games, then you're talking about a potential first round quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. I think my comp for him, because I wrote up a report like back in December at Bleacher Report, which is still up on the website, before he decided to go back to school. I think it was around the CFP. To me, he was he was the athletic version of Baker Mayfield, where this is a guy that good arm. We know he could throw it and access the field. And we saw an uptick in terms of just his accuracy, his ball placement last year, winning from the pocket, but then he throws well on the move. And to your point, when you let him run and you implement the legs, it settles them in. It's the same thing in basketball. You can't come out the game trying to bank
launching threes. Yep.
Like, no, you're cold. You just can't, you know what I mean? Yeah, you've been shooting around and stuff, but it's like, you
get to the rack, get some free throws.
Free throws, a layup, just see the ball go in the cup. And I think that's the same thing with Cade. I want to see him, what I really want to see him improve on, Keith, this year is the decision-making at times when pressure gets to him. He gets a little bit rattled. And that was the case, especially his first year. He got better last year, but I want to see him improve it even more. His first year as a starter, his biggest mistakes, the turnovers, the fumbles, the interceptions, even they lost, I think it was the Duke game. They lost to Riley Leonard that in 2023, that first game. Then they had, I think, Florida Atlantic. They had like 2 cupcake games before Florida State. And even in those games, he made kind of really bad decisions with the football. So last year, he did improve with his turnover-worthy plays more. He got better with limiting them last year. But under pressure, you want to just kind of see him just settle in and basically, because when you're thinking about from a quarterback standpoint, when teams know that you get rattled by pressure, that's when they're going to uptick the pressure. They're going to ratchet it up. They're going, you know what? Let's throw more pressure at them. Let's send some more simulated looks and that cat blitz off the backside and different. Which that's something that and it's something I've noticed, Keith, and it's a development in the NFL. These athletic quarterbacks have to start paying attention to the backside nickel blitz. The NFL DCs are doing that more often now because you don't think about backside pressure from the corner. You're looking at everything front side, play side. They do that a lot now with these athletic quarterbacks. Oh, that's a way to get to you without, if I send pressure and you see it, Lamar Jackson can juke that defensive end and now all hell breaks loose and he's 60 yards out of the field and make an adjustment. So you want to be able to do those type of things. And then also, Keith, I want to see him.
I want to say this, DP, because you hit on something. And I don't mind the Baker Mayfield comp, but I will say this, that up until this point, and Cade still has another year, I thought that Baker was more advanced in potentially the 5 wide sets, right? At this point, I probably trusted him more. I think he was Cade has to develop that part of the game of just going 5 wide and being what this is. There's not no play action RPO stuff. I'm just dinking and dunking to you, and I'm just reading the defense, getting the ball out quickly. You know what I'm saying? Things like that.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. He's got it because that's when you really take your game, especially when you're that caliber athlete. When we go empty and now you spread the defense east and west in terms of alignment, now the box is light, things like that. You open up natural RPO action with your quarterback where you drop back. You tell him, read it. If the box is light, everybody's dropping back. They're not keying in on you. You turn it into a QB draw. You know what I mean? Different things like that to get that 3rd and 5. We know you can pick it up. We block it right. We know you can get it in that situation. Or, hey, if they do key in on you, now make them pay with accurate passes. And that's why I said, for him, and I think I talked about it, Jake Brennistool got open deep a lot last year, and Cade didn't get the ball to him. And I realized while I'm watching this tape, he still struggles with post-snap defensive recognition. If you change the picture on him, when they move, you could see it, Keith. I'm pretty sure you kind of noticed the body language when he snapped the ball and it's not what he saw pre-snap. It's a total different coverage look.
That's why I went back to the Jalen. That's why I went back to the Jalen Milroe situation, right? It was the same thing. And you remember, when you was at the Draft Network and we talked about, I was like, hey, look, really good. But sometimes when you move that pressure and bring down that nickel late, Jalen tends to hold on to that football and is like, hold on, what's going on? And I think I seen the same thing with Cade, right? Watching him early on, it's just that hiccup that they kind of have before they released the football.
He's
and
got to clean it up. He's got to clean it up, man. Like if he cleans it up, Keith, I think he will be a top 10 pick if he cleans it up.
It's definitely a path for it to happen. It's just what's the next step in development, or is there a clear path of Cade Klubnik is exactly this football player? But DP, let's go out west, man. West Coast. We're going to Arizona State. Those Sun Devils. Everybody knows Cam Scatterbull, but it's time to know the quarterback. Yes, he's returning. Mr. Sam Leavitt. He led this team. They almost beat Texas, DP. Almost beat Texas in was that the Cotton Bowl, the Big 12?
I think so. I think it's
the Cotton Bowl, maybe the second round of the playoffs. It's a lot going on. There's a lot going on at the back end of the year, DP. But let's talk about Sam Leavitt and what to expect, because I'm going to say this. I like him. I like what I see. So let's talk about Sam Leavitt, the quarterback for Arizona State, coming up next.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. And when you talk about winning big, you need to curate and set your next bet up by building it around the trends. And Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle have been balling this entire NBA playoffs. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 back in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. One of the more lesser-known quarterbacks in college football, Keith, Arizona State's Sam Leavitt. Like you said, everybody knows Cam Scatterbull. He's the people's champion now over there with those New York Giants. But his quarterback is no slouch, and he shouldn't be slept on. 6'2", 200 pounds, Keith. And on the season last year, he completed 61.5% of his passes, over 2,800 yards passing, 24 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions throughout the season. But he also added 107 carries for 502 rush yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, 0 fumbles, 107 carries, 421 dropbacks, and he never fumbled one time in 2024. Keith, when I watched him, the playmaking ability, the off-script stuff, the improvisational skills are there with him. He's a good athlete. I like his arm talent as well. He's a fearless dude, too. Like, he's a fearless quarterback, Keith. And I just kind of look at him, and I'm like, man, and you said it. They almost knocked off Texas, and that was without their best receiver, Jordan Tyson. If Jordan Tyson plays in that game, I think they beat Texas, because not only can you run the ball with Cam Scatterbull, now you got the best receiver for the team who's going to lighten the load of everybody else, right? Like, you got the number 2 being number 1, the number 3 playing number 2. Like, get those guys back in their natural positions. But Sam Leavitt can ball, man. Like, he's got the ability to throw on the run. I really appreciate his ability to drive the ball in the middle of the field, not just like 5, 7 to 10 yards, even some deep stuff, 15 yards down the field between the numbers, between the hashes. He can fire it in there. He can rip it, man. I think this is a young man that has a lot of potential, and it's just a situation similar to me, like with Drew Aller. And it's, what does the team have around you to really help elevate you? I think a lot of times we look at these players and like, man, can you elevate whatever team you're on? And I always say this, like, it's only a few guys in the world at the quarterback position that can elevate subpar situations, right? Like, it's only a few guys. And it's like, at the same time, I'm not saying that you need elite weapons at all 3 wide receivers positions. Like, you need somebody that can pull coverage. Jordan Tyson can pull coverage. Now, can number 2 and number 3 take a step forward? Whoever's running the ball behind, now that Cam Scatterbull's gone, can you take the mantle from Cam Scatterbull and keep it pushing? And I think this is a team in the Big 12. I think they're in the Big 12. Like, this is a team that could very much threaten the Big 12 and like, as they were the Big 12 champions. So be able to come back now without Cam Scatterbull, without some of the guys they had last year, but then bring it back to their top dogs this year. Yeah, I like Sam Leavitt, man. I think this is a guy, again, We'll see if he declares because he's not a senior. Like he's still a young player, Keith. But the one thing I did want to see from him, and I wrote down, I want to see him improve his anticipation. And then he has a tendency of bailing clean pockets. Like if he senses a little bit of pressure because he is athletic, he just gets out of there. And it's like, no, like step up, reset your feet, get ready to throw, and just navigate the pocket from a more veteran mindset, not to run, but to throw. Like, okay, pressure off the backside edge. I sense it. I step away, step up, and I drill it. Not completely get flushed out. He gets flushed out a little bit too much if he senses pressure.
Yeah, DP, I'm gonna go here. And you described a situation. I'm going to put a career arc that I think he could potentially have, and a player that he reminded me of, Alex Smith. And I like what you said because I think it aligns with what I was thinking with Alex Smith, in the sense of the fact of not saying, because Alex Smith was the number 1 overall pick, I believe, to the 49ers. And when the 49ers were bad, we seen a bad Alex Smith. When the 49ers were decent, we seen us when they were good or great, right? When we talking about Vernon Davis and Crabtree and everybody else, we seen a good Alex Smith, right? And then Kansas City Chiefs, a structure, a situation, we seen a solid Alex Smith. I think Sam Leavitt has the opportunity to be that. I'm not saying he has the opportunity to be the number 1 overall pick, because I think out and removing the leg injury, right? Because that was gruesome. That was, bad situation. Prayers for Alex Smith. But if you look at Alex Smith's career, I don't think that was necessarily a number 1 overall pick career, right? That's probably the career of a quarterback who gets drafted more second, third round, something like that. I see Sam Leavitt with a lot of those tools, right? As far as you talked about the athleticism, the 800 rushing yards, he has zip on the football. He can throw in the middle of the field. He can push the ball vertical. He's accurate. He has enough elusiveness to him to make those pass rushers miss, right? That if you're drawing up stuff, you're saying, hey, there's some tools with Sam Leavitt that I can work with. If I get him out of the pocket, get him some half-field reads early on, and then a lot of design things to get him comfortable. I'm not saying this is an all-world quarterback. I'm comparing more of the career trajectory versus the fact that Alex Smith went number 1 overall, but I've seen a lot of similarities in physical tools.
No, I actually don't mind that comp at all, because remember, Alex Smith went before Aaron Rodgers in that draft. You know what I mean? I believe Alex Smith he played at Utah. So on the West Coast.
He was at Utah with Urban Meyer, which we know that Urban historically uses his quarterback's legs, right? And so that was part of that path and what we're talking about.
Yeah, and with Leavitt, like Arizona State allows him to just be him and play ball. Like it's not a lot of because I think, Keith, we've talked about it before. Like I think even off air, like you look at like Colin Kaepernick and how they tried that, kind of later in his career, they tried to change who he was, right? Instead of like making incremental developmental parts of the plan, it was like, hey, go from being a straight line runner, fast, four-seam fastball thrower to being the pure pocket passer.
Yeah, like 5 wide, stay in the pocket. You can't win.
You can't do
and
that.
You just think about DP. And that's why I think what kind of frustrates me with football, period, in both NFL and the media side of it, is because we speak in absolutes, meaning that and nobody calls out the absolutes. And what I mean is that everybody told us over the past 50 years that you can't win with dual threat quarterbacks, right? Like you like, and not that, it's going to be difficult. Saying that you can't win.
You couldn't do it.
To the Colin Kaepernicks, all the other quarterbacks, right? It was like they got to win from the pocket. And then now we have examples of people winning outside the pocket. And then now it's like the exact opposite. We don't want pocket passers. We want guys that went outside of the pocket. And I just want those people who said that you can't win that way to just be like, 1, I was wrong, or 2, how did we get here, right? Like,
it's a massive overcorrection.
It's a massive overcorrection, and there's no accountability for saying that it can't be done. And I just don't like the absolutes when it comes to it, right? And I think that he was a prime example of, okay, cool. Well, yeah, you won, but you're not going to win a lot like that. Well, Lamar Jackson is winning a lot like that, right? Yeah. He's winning a lot running the football. Cam Newton got to the Super Bowl running the football. So it's just different examples, and I think it's very interesting just how we come about full circle to these moments to where, like you said, now it's an overcorrection to where maybe we don't want pocket passes anymore. I don't. I'm not completely sure.
It's gotten to the point where, like we like the NFL, like when you get a guy like a Mac Jones, like that was the last like true pocket pass that was drafted in the first round was Mac Jones a couple years ago, and like they had that good rookie year in New England, and I remember watching that season. I was like, guys, the backstretch of this year is going to tell us a lot. Because now that's when you get the top defenses, the Bills again, and that's the backstretch. I think he lost one of his last 5 games. I think they did get to the playoffs, and if I remember correctly, I think they might have gotten to the playoffs, or either they got knocked out right before the playoffs. I think that was the last time, and then teams kind of look at it, and it's like, yeah, no, like I don't know, because then it's like, you know what it is, Keith? It's team building. It's because these guys in the NFL, like I know fans, and I know we kind of got jump off topic a little bit, but it's still kind of relative. The Arizona State allows Sam Leavitt to be who he is. He just plays ball. He can play fast when you just let him play his game.
Do what he does. Yep.
In the NFL, we're seeing decision makers and team builders not fully be confident in what they're building. So it's like, okay, if I have a pocket passer who's not even functional as an athlete, he's just a anticipatory thrower, he's accurate, he plays from the neck up. It's like, yeah, that's great. But man, what happens when they do send pressure and it gets home? It's like, you don't have an answer for it if you can't beat it with your mind. It's like, well, that's why you got to invest in your offensive line then. You got to invest in your protections. You got to make sure you have a running back that, hey, if it's third down, and you see simulated, you're comfortable keeping him in to protect your quarterback. You got to build the team up if you want a guy like that. And the NFL is showcasing they don't know how to handle any quarterback. They don't know how to handle pocket passers. They can't handle dual threats. They're just like, hey, guys, go out there, sink or swim. And it's like, you know what you're doing? You're making the product bad, like doing it like this. So shout out to Arizona State. And I think in college, what the NFL needs to learn is what college is doing, Keith. College is truly letting these young men go out here and ball. Just go out and play. I know it's a step up in competition, but let these young men play. If you allow them to just play free and not have to think so much, you get the better version of the player.
Yep, I agree with DP. Let's talk about another guy, man, that makes plays with his arms, but also makes plays with his legs. Washington State transfer. He is now in Oklahoma. Yes, John Mateer. I believe that's how you pronounce it, right? We need to talk about him. There's a lot of production there. He's at a big-time program. This guy can put his hat in the running for being one of college football's best quarterbacks, but also one of the best quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft. Let's talk John Mateer coming up next.
Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Former Washington State quarterback, 6'1", 220 listed as, now transferred to Oklahoma. John Mateer coming off a season, Keith, 64% completion percentage, a little over 3,100 yards passing, average 9 yards per attempt, 29 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but also added 1,000 yards on the ground, 15 rushing touchdowns, 3 fumbles on the 149 carries. And that's one of the things I wrote down, Keith.
Go ahead and start the comparisons for Baker Mayfield right now. From a body profile perspective, right? They're probably very similar. 6'2", 215 pounds, 6'1", 215, somewhere around there. He got the long hair. He's gonna be rocking the Nike Jordan headband, right? He's gonna be running around making plays. It's gonna be a whole lot of boomer sooner going on. This is and listen, we're no betting man, but this is a dark horse for a Heisman, right? Just because I think if they get this together, if you get Oklahoma's offense back together, this team is going to make some plays, right? And they're going to have, being in the SEC now, they're going to have some primetime games to make some plays. I thought this is an under-the-radar pickup for Oklahoma, but this was one of the better pickups, DP. I like this situation a lot. I like John because we talked about the dual threat ability. You've seen him make plays and kind of spread things out all over at Washington State. The other guy I also thought of, who was also a Baker Mayfield comp for me, I thought of Kyle McCord too. Just like a gunslinger, right? Just delivering the football, pushing the football up vertical, putting it in tight windows, things like that. I like John. I like what he could do. Like I was excited. Like once I'm like, okay, this is at Oklahoma. I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
Yeah, Keith, I'm excited to see him in the SEC. This dude he's a baller. Like
He's
see,
fun. He's fun.
He's a
fun
lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. He's got that 3/4 angle arm slot with his throwing motion. He slings it. He rips it. Like you said, the gunslinger mentality. To me, Keith, you brought up Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go right to the 2025 NFL draft. He is the athletic version of Jackson Dart.
Like, I don't mind that one either. I don't mind.
They're very similar.
Yep.
Body
and
type
they another talking about height and weight. What Jackson Dart was 6'2", 215, something like that.
Yeah. So he came to the combine 6'2", 220, 223, or whatever the case may be. They have him. They have John Mateer listed at 6'1", 220. So very similar body types, but to me, I think he has more juice on the arm than Dart. Yeah. I think he's to me, I think he's a upper like a tier or two above as a runner. Like Jackson Dart was a good athlete for what he brought to the table.
Quarterback.
Yeah, John like Mateer can run. Like he can run. He's agile. He's elusive in the open field. He's also tough. Like and he throws with good. I forget which game I was watching, and they had a singled up like just go route from like the opponent from the defense's 30. And he just threw a dime on the goal ball outside outside the numbers, over the right shoulder, away from the corner, like touchdown. I was like, that was a dime. I was like, okay, yeah, I see it. Like his ability to just like make plays from, of course, the off script stuff too. Like he can make plays on the run with his legs. He's a walking RPO, because you think about being able to get in the shotgun. An NFL team projecting to the league and like, okay, we get him if he gets into like a West Coast system and want to get him under center, do some play action, naked boot off the backside. Now he's a natural RPO. Like he can either throw it and hit the quick little slice action, little slice route from the tight end backside, hit him in the flats, or if that's not there, or the tight end get caught up in the wash of the offensive defensive line, he can run it and not just run it and be. Okay, I can get you 3 or 4. Like, no, I can get you 30 or 40. Like, he's got that type of juice, man. I think this dude, I love the fact you called him out as a potential Heisman guy. Now, I do think he's got to protect, make sure he protect the football.
Yeah. It's just a dark horse guy. Like, he's way out the way.
I think he can. And then they're preparing him with one of our guys, Keith, Deion Burks, over there in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
So he's already walking in with a potential game changer at wide receiver. I wish he was joined. I wish Nick Anderson was staying.
You kind of still wish Nick Anderson and Jalil
Nick
going to there, right?
But Nick's going to play with Garrett, so I'm not mad about that either. I'm good. I want my guy to have a good quarterback, so he's good either way, man. I think the SEC getting this kid, and I think it could be a situation, Keith, a little bit like Taylor Green, where maybe the speed, the first couple SEC games, he's got to get accustomed to it. It's just how fast guys are moving. The deal. I think the main thing is not, and I think I said this on Twitter. The SEC. Like the biggest difference between the SEC and a lot of these other conferences, it's not the speed and athleticism at receiving corner anymore, because speed's everywhere through the NIL. It's the trench play. So when you think like in the Pac-12 and the Big 12, you might have more time in the pocket because they don't have the athletes and the power and the specimens that are NFL body ready guys as pass rushers. And SEC, oh yeah, you play Auburn, you got Falk coming off the edge or playing at 3-tech and he's right in your face. You know what I mean? Like you got to deal with those type of guys. So I think that's where it's like for him, just once he gets the timing down, like, okay, I'm comfortable. I'm used to this now. I know what to expect in this conference, especially in the trenches. Yeah, man, I definitely think this dude has a chance to, like I said, be a dark horse, be one of the better just like passers in the SEC. I'm excited to see this young man this fall, Keith, because I think he has everything you look for. And I think this is going to be his 4th year. So it technically is like he's probably going to have one more year eligibility after this year still. But man, I think he's got a chance to make himself a first-round pick. I truly like we just saw Jackson Dart team trade up for Jackson Dart. Yeah. To me, this dude is a more accurate passer without the Lane Kiffin scheme of, well, this guy's wide open. These windows are large, things of that nature. Like, to me, he can rip some of those tight man-to-man window throws. I think he gives more of that than what Dart did, because Dart didn't have to do it a lot. and he's a much better athlete. Yeah, I'm in on John Mateer, Keith. I'm in on John Mateer.
Yep, 100% with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. I want to end this podcast all by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. Every listen is greatly appreciated here. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On the next episode of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, we're going to talk about Lenoris Sellers.
We're
going to talk about that guy. That guy, is he this year's Jalen Milroe? Is he that X factor for the draft class that if he hits, he's a top 5 pick come 2026? We'll talk about all that on the next episode. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.